Hey, podcast listeners. I'm taking a little pause from the podcast this summer, but I wanted to include some little short clips of tips and tools that I've been sharing in my private groups as a way to stay in touch this summer. Enjoy. My name is Randy Rubenstein, and welcome to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast, where we believe when your thoughts grow, the conversations in your home flow. Hi guys, welcome to this week's video blog. I cannot believe it is already the end of July and that many of us are just wrapping up summer because school starts so freaking early. Although maybe, yay, school starts so freaking early, whichever way you want to look at it. No judgment here. I wanted to read to you, I'm covering right now in the Mastermind Mascot series, which is how do we raise kids that go out into the world and show up as their best selves, who feel confident, kind, and self-motivated. And so in this series right now, I wanted to cover kind of some touchy subjects and how to handle it. And the last week, I talked about how we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some of those old school values, like we want to keep them around, and we've got to teach our kids the things, right? Because they are going out into the world, and there's certain behaviors that are public behaviors, and there's certain behaviors that are private behaviors. And if you're doing private behaviors out in public, you're not really showing up as a little mastermind mascot, because those private behaviors make other people uncomfortable and frankly can even be downright creepy, especially as you get older. But even when you're little, for example, private behavior, picking your nose, not that anyone wants to admit it, although we see for some reason people think it's invisible when they do so in their car. So we know that everyone does it. And if you do it out in public, it's creepy, it's disgusting. Nobody wants to, and everyone does it, So there are certain behaviors that are private behaviors, and nobody else wants to see you doing that. It's ick. So here's a message from one of my moms, and she said, my son turned 6 this month. He's definitely found his penis, and he plays with it a lot, even when he gets upset or when he is sick, which I think is interesting. He plays with it almost like a comfort mechanism, but it's happening very often even outside the home. What's the appropriate way to address this with him? So what I want to say is, there's certain behaviors that are private behaviors, and there's certain behaviors that are public behaviors, and we don't want our kids doing the private behaviors out in public, like touching their penis. And so that's the old school mentality, right? And the new school, which is how do we teach our kids the things without shaming them or humiliating them or giving them issues around this very normal thing. So I walked the mom through how to have a productive conversation, because remember, for those of you who've been listening to my podcast for a long time, you know that the productive conversation, to have a productive conversation, is the way we teach our kids the things without lecturing them, berating them, shaming them, belittling them. It's the way we effectively teach them the things. And if you want your kids showing up as their best self, they can't have their hand down their pants, boy or girl. So I said, have a productive conversation. And what we know is you got to see his perspective, and you've got to empathize. She already started seeing his perspective, which I thought was interesting, because she said he was doing it a lot when he was sick and when he's uncomfortable, I think she said. And so he's using it as a way to cope or soothe. The body has nerve endings, and the penis has a lot of nerve endings, and it's a pleasure source. And so when you're feeling some level of discomfort, some people eat chocolate, some people touch their penises. Come on. It's like if you're looking for a quick way to feel better, it kind of makes sense. And we want to teach our kids, like, you got to see his perspective, which is, I've noticed it doesn't involve you. So you're just going to say something like, I've noticed that you have been touching your penis a lot lately at home and out in the world. And sometimes when you're sitting on the couch watching TV and you're touching your penis a lot because it feels good. I mean, that's the reason he's touching it. It feels good. So by seeing his perspective, you're basically just attaching words. It feels good. And then you actively listen, whatever he says. Like if you have shamed him a lot or told him, get your hand out of your pants, get your hand out of your pants. Not to say that we're not, I mean, I'm not a proponent of going around out in the world with your hand down your pants. But if you have done it in a way that he has sensed you feeling somewhat, frustrated or annoyed or embarrassed, then he may argue when it's time. After you see his perspective, he might be like, I don't do that. If he does that, you just have to see his perspective more. And it really comes down to, guess what, buddy? There's nothing wrong. You're not in trouble. Everyone touches their parts that fall underneath your bathing suit. Girls touch theirs, boys touch theirs. It's something everyone does. It's not wrong. It's not creepy. It's not weird. There's nothing wrong with it. It's totally normal. Totally normal. Those parts of our bodies have extra things called nerve endings, and it feels extra good. Yeah? Am I getting this right? And once he starts talking, then you just actively listen, which you just mirror back whatever he says. And you don't teach. You don't share words of wisdom. You don't teach him where he's allowed to do it and where he's not. You wait till you get to the problem-solving part. It's a dance. We're going to mix the common sense, the old school values, and the common sense, which is it's not cool to walk around the world touching your junk. I mean, it's just not. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see you picking your nose. Nobody wants to see you with your hand on your penis. So we're going to talk about this. That's the common sense, right? So when we move to the problem-solving part, we're going to get to that place of where is it okay and where is it inappropriate and why is it inappropriate? It makes other people uncomfortable. There's certain things that are private. It's just like some people are your close friends and you tell them all your secrets. And there's some people that aren't your close friends. There's some people that are just, just what we call acquaintances. And those are the people that we don't tell all our secrets. It's, there's things to learn. And so this is an opportunity, like when, we're like, oh my gosh, my kid's got his hand on his penis all the time. No, this is an opportunity to start having these conversations where we start teaching. There's a time and a place for things. In the privacy of your own room, when you're by yourself, touch your penis away. Out on the couch, watching TV in the public spaces of the home, not so much. And out in the world, I don't think so. A little creepy, And I always say bring a little humor into it even, like I would say to be like, what if you came down for breakfast and I had my hand down my pants? Hey, you might be like, Mom, a little weird. Right? So these are, this is just normal. This is all stuff people do. And there's a private place. There's private behaviors. There's public behaviors. And so we're just teaching the things. We're combining old and new. And that's what I've got for you guys this week. Hope you're relishing the last moments of summer. Enjoy. Have you read my book, The Parent Gap? Have you listened to my book, The Parent Gap? I doubt you've listened because my publisher hasn't released it yet on Audible. However, I have the audio version of The Parent Gap that I would love to send to you. You can download it at mastermindparenting.com/book. That's mastermindparenting.com/book for your free audio version of The Parent Gap. You're welcome. Bye.